Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today, thanks to Kia of Canton, we're driving this 2002 Mercedes-Benz S430, the W220 generation of Mercedes S-Class, a car that I've always been curious about and a car that I've never driven until about 20 minutes ago when I went and grabbed this off of their lot. Now, this is a car that I think is a bit misunderstood and overhated. I was doing some research on this prior to filming the car, and every article I saw was talking about how this is by far the worst generation of S-Class ever made, and I never really thought that. I always kind of liked the W220. It was the S-Class that was new when I was a child. When we were driving around, I'd see an S-Class on the road. This is what I would see, and I saw this pop up. I was very excited to go drive it, and I think today we're going to shine some light on all of the good things about the W220. But before we do that, I want to quickly get out of the way the things that people didn't so much like about this car when it came out and also when it started to age a bit. Now, primarily in Michigan, a lot of these are gone because they all rusted out really bad, and some of it was premature. Sometimes you'll see these driving around with big rust holes in the doors and the fenders and things, but this particular car lived most of its life in Florida. It's done 69,000 miles, and it's actually just about perfect. I haven't found a single thing in this that doesn't work. And Kia of Canton has this on the lot for $6,900. I'm like, how is this not sold yet? I don't know how long it's been posted. I forgot to ask them, but I don't know. I was considering buying it, but the last thing I need in my life is another car. So if one of you wants to buy this, you can click the link in the description and you can go and have this if it's still available by the time this video gets posted. But anyway, rust was an issue with the W220, and also the air suspension, which this one has, or the optional ABC, which this doesn't have. This just has the standard air suspension, which, as you can see today, is working fine. However, when I walked up on this morning, it was sitting a bit low, but I think that's kind of just what these do when they age. So I blew all the snow off, the air suspension lifted right back up, and all is well. Oh, man. I think this actually looks quite handsome here, finished in brilliant silver, but I think what really does it, apart from this interesting red pinstripe, are these AMG monoblock wheels. Now, I actually have the original window sticker. I didn't see these on it, so someone may have put these on along the way, but these are absolutely gorgeous. They're an 18-inch wheel. They're staggered. There's some nice dish in the back. We've got a 245, 45, 18 Michelin pallet sport all season with good tread. So, I mean, somebody really loved this car. And then on the back, we have a 275 40 ZR18. So you can see a little bit of a staggered setup. But man, I love a good dished wheel. And I think on this W220, this looks quite proper. Also, let's not forget that this is the last S-Class that Bruno Sacco ever laid his hands on. Steve Mattin was involved as well, but just to have Bruno Sacco's seal of approval on the design should be telling enough. So, some more info on what we have in front of us. This is the S430, the base model. This started at about 70 grand back in 2002 when this was new. This one as spec only about 72,000. The only options being brilliant silver and heated seats, but it's got some cool standard features like soft closed doors. Under the hood, a 4.3-liter naturally aspirated V8 with 275 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. We have a 5-speed automatic transmission, and of course, this is rear-wheel drive, though Mercedes would sell you a 4MATIC S430 the following model year when this got a facelift in 03. This is a pre-facelift, so this suffered from a lot of the things that people complained about. And the main reason that people didn't like this car was because of its predecessor, the W140, a car that Mercedes reportedly spent $1 billion developing. And then they were kind of in their Chrysler era when this came out. And, you know, it kind of looks that way. It looks like it was kind of, it looks like it had some Daimler Chrysler influence, but this is just kind of what all cars looked like in the early 2000s. And let's not forget, BMW was making the E65 during this time, which was absolutely hateful. So I think this at least has a leg up on that. This had self-leveling suspension as well. Some owners would say that since it stayed active 24/7, if there was a windy day, they'd come out in the morning, their battery would be dead because the car was adjusting itself all night. Weird stuff like that. But I think this car, anyway, is quite nice. So we'll gloss over all of that, and we'll go for a drive, and we'll show you what this is like today. I want to run a commute in this because I want to see what it was like to be a businessman in 2002 going to work in my S430. But before we jump in and go for a drive, why don't we poke around this, and we'll start up front and talk a bit about this engine. Now, this is the M113, the 4.3 liter version, but there were other versions of this engine in many other cars, including the slightly bigger brother, the S500, and then the S55, and then I think even my ML55 had a version of this engine. But again, just to reiterate, 275 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Now, this is a 4,100 pound car. I don't expect this to be sprightly, but I think it'll be adequate for the platform. I mean, a 4,000 pound S-Class, it's definitely lighter than they are now. I imagine they're probably sneaking up towards the 5,000 pound mark. But this is still a pretty good, sizable car. You can see our air suspension here. Very cool. All right, let's shut this. Love the hood emblem. Got glass headlights on this car. Love to see that. And we'll take the long walk around to the trunk. Still going. There we go. And we'll see what we have in here. Little button there to pop that. Yep, this is huge. Now, as I said, this car lived most of its life in Florida. I'm sure lots of golf clubs were in here. Underneath the trunk floor, we have a spare tire and a complete toolkit with some fuses. Somebody's reversing. What's this? Oh, it's the fuse diagram. Okay, we should probably leave that down where it's at. Best part of the video, reading a fuse diagram while a truck is reversing. Okay, I've got the jack, everything in here. But yeah, pretty sizable trunk, very wide opening. Obviously, they, have their audience in mind for this car. I don't think we have a soft close trunk. Oh, we do. I stand corrected. Okay. Soft close everything on this S430. Let's jump in the back. Oh, these doors feel lovely, and they are long. This is a long wheelbase, W220. As you'll see by the massive back seat. And we'll use the soft close door. There you go. Where at 5'11", I just have miles of space. I mean, I basically have like a 2-bedroom apartment back here all to myself. I could barely reach the driver's seat set behind my driving position. You've got this little armrest that comes out, which is also a console and cup holders. All of that still works great. This back seat looks like nobody ever sat in it. I know that's kind of a cliche thing to say, but this black leather is properly clean. These headrests fold up and down actually via a switch up there. And then up here we've got a little cubby. You've got some air vents. This was kind of before the time where you had your own climate control panel in the back seat, but we've at least got some seat back pockets. And my favorite part, actually, vanity mirrors. The lights still work. Oh man, dude, old S-Classes are just the coolest. Up front, I've got my tape in the cassette player so we can test out this 10-speaker Bose sound system. But I think we should just jump up there now and go for a drive. I love that. I did my best to clear all the snow off of this because I hate when people don't clear their cars off and then there's just like snow blowing on everyone. I did the best I could. I didn't want to scratch this really nice, brilliant silver paint. But yeah, okay, let's jump in. Up front, pretty typical Mercedes stuff. We've got all of our seat controls on the door panel, 3 memory seat settings, 2 heated seat settings. Obviously, all of our power windows. We've got a trunk release here. And this seat seriously looks perfect. I mean, whoever drove this car seriously loved it. This particular car had one long-term owner from late 2002 to mid-2024. So for most of its life, it had one owner. And then someone in Michigan bought it and had it for like a year. And now I guess they traded it in on a Kia. Soft closed doors. Left the key in the ignition here. You can see 69,621 miles. Let's go ahead and start it up. No chime. Following the theme of every new Mercedes I've had, there's no startup chime whatsoever. Got this little baby display here on the gauge cluster. You can see your odometer, when your service is due, engine oil level. You can have a digital speedo. That's pretty cool. Maybe we'll leave that up. That's fun. In the middle, tiny little infotainment screen, which does have a cassette player. So I've got my adapter here. We'll plug my phone in so we can do a sound system test later on. But how fun is that? Maybe we'll leave my phone down on the floor so it's out of the way. And I was confused when I got in earlier because I thought this was the volume knob, but it's actually just the little selector for your infotainment screen. But your volume adjustments are actually these buttons. So Mercedes very early on was not giving you a volume knob, but you do at least have these buttons on the steering wheel to adjust your volume as well. Climate control lives down here. Pretty nice button clicks. I mean, another thing people complain about with this is the interior build quality, but everything seems fine apart from this cup holder thing, which doesn't quite fold back in all the way, but hey, at least you've got cup holders up here. We'll leave that be. A couple little hidden compartments there, ashtrays and things. You know, I'm sure people in 2002 were enjoying their cigars, driving their W220. There's your ashtray, your actual ashtray right there. But nobody ever smoked in this. This car honestly smells brand new still. But then I opened the glove box earlier, and I found what I always love to find. Obviously, well, this is cool. You've got a full owner's manual and everything else, but then I pulled this out. Oh my goodness, I'm tickled by things like this. Sorry, I misspoke. Actual MSRP on this car was $74,000, and it started at $72,000. This also had the lighting package with the Xenons. This is rated at 17 mpg city, 24 mpg highway. It's got 100,000 mile spark plugs. I wonder if they're original. It's only done 69,000 miles. Man, whoever's getting this car, I am jealous, actually. I'd be lying if I said the thought didn't cross my mind of purchasing this. I don't need it. You guys comment, tell me that I don't need this car. Hopefully by the time this video goes up, someone else will have already bought it. You can see there's a button here for our headlight washers. Some of the buttons are a little bit sticky. You know, this is kind of common for European cars from this era. Otherwise, though, up here we've got a button to adjust our air suspension for two varying levels of stiffness. Can turn off our stability control, which was a pretty early rendition of stability control in the W220. This car didn't pioneer a ton, but it did pioneer adaptive cruise control, which I don't think this car has, but it was an option. Sunshade, that works. Love to see it. Oh yeah. Oh, the headliner is a bit messed up on the sunroof shade there, but other than that, oh, and this mirror needs to be replaced, the mirror glass, because it's a little bit fogged up. But other than those couple of things, I've found nothing else wrong with this, and every single thing in this W220 works. So let's stop chatting while stationary and go chat a bit while driving. I'm so used to going into reverse to show reverse cameras, but obviously this doesn't have it. But hey, now you know reverse gear works. Initial driving impressions, unapologetically S-Class. The steering is very light. All of the inputs are smooth yet progressive and intelligent. You don't break your neck when giving initial throttle input, but the S-Class was always supposed to be the best car in the world, and they stood by that, even with the W220. And how can you not feel like you're in the best car in the world, staring at the Mercedes Roundel sticking up on the hood? I love these older Mercedes because there's just sort of the constant sound of leather rustling. Speed, I can whisper. Somebody seriously loved this car. Interesting construction happening in December when it's 22 degrees out. ground is probably pretty hard. Brakes feel great as well. Suspension feels super compliant. I'm sure these airbags have been replaced at some point. They feel very fresh. And in this 23-year-old car, we have one-touch turn signals. Can't say I'm surprised. They always say the things you see in an S-Class just become normal on all other cars that follow. So I suppose that's true here as well for the 220. Yeah, let's see what 275 horsepower feels like. There's no kickdown switch, so we're just riding it out in whatever gear we're in. There's 60. We'll get it in a lower gear and we'll do another acceleration, don't worry. All right, let's bring it into this corner. Suspension is in its softest setting. Maybe let's stiffen that up a bit. We'll go all the way stiff. This is now going to lower itself. You can see airmatic convenience. Oh my goodness. That gets very stiff. Well, we're going to need that for the corner up here, so. I have this horrible vision of this car just sitting this far off the ground right now. I hope that's working in the way that it should be. Yeah, let's bring it into a corner and see how athletic this 4,100-pound sedan is. Wow. Found the kickdown switch. Jeez. That feels great. I'm going to go back into soft mode. And we're going to do that one more time just because I'm curious. Yeah, that was in Sport 2. Oh man, the ride is lovely in Sport 0. When you're just floating this thing around. This M113 is so quiet as well. Gear changes from the 5-speed slush box, nice and smooth. Guys, this car drives wonderfully. It really goes to show that if you keep up with these cars, they will treat you well. They will continue to drive like brand new. And obviously, I was only 4 years old when this car was new. But it's fun to like pretend, you know, that I was a journalist back when this was new. And this is probably what this felt like. I like the way this dashboard is laid out too. All right, we're quickly going to get this off the line and then we'll jump on the highway and see what it's like as a commuter. Go to our super important 2002 office job. This is solid ice up here as well, so you can see somebody's had that pull. The idle is so smooth. Turn signals in a really nice spot. It's a very thick stock as well. I love the way this car drives when you're just driving it normally. I mean, 35 miles an hour. The ride quality is sublime, seriously. Okay. It's going to be a slightly curved acceleration, but I don't think this is fast enough to really matter. So, let's see how it gets off the line. Right, I've lost throttle. This is a common thing actually with Mercedes from this era. I drove an R230 and it was the same way. Fix for this is to go into park, shut the car off, take the key out. Just let the whole thing do a good reset. Turn it back on. There you go. And, yep, we've got throttle back. Okay. All right. Don't floor it off the line, I guess, if you have one of these. Something with this era, these accelerator pedals in particular, they're very finicky. So we'll roll into it here. And we won't do a proper 0 to 60 because we don't want to break the car. I'll be able to give this back to Kia of Canton in one piece. Yeah, this car is all just about wafting anyway, you know? What sort of hooligan is doing a 0 to 60 in their S430? Now, we do actually have two different transmission modes here. Got a W and an S button. I'm currently in S. That stands for standard. If I push this, that puts it into winter mode. So instead of starting in first from a stop, it'll start in second. Fun fact. We're going to leave that in standard. I've got a fellow turn of the century Mercedes here. That's an E430. Hey, same engine. He won't see me because we've both got tints, but you know, we're both enjoyers of the same thing. Let's hope he's an enjoyer of staying in his lane. Not really, but we'll forgive him. Oh man, you guys, this car is really nice. Also, this is just like my favorite type of car. Like, the Topher and I complement each other so well. Brake test. The Topher and I complement each other so well because, you know, he loves to go out in an S2000 or a Miata, and I do too. Don't get me wrong, I love those cars, but I really love a big body luxury sedan like this. I don't know what it is. It's just, I like being comfortable while I'm driving now. I like, you know, I wouldn't want to go to the track in this, but they did make some hot versions of the W220, including the S65, which was like a 650 horsepower twin-turbo V12 thing. Excuse me. But we're going to get this climate control down as well. I don't know if there's a way to sync the climate control. If there is, I don't want to figure it out while I'm driving, so we're just going to do both sides manually, put those down to 72. The hot version of the car during this time, though, was the S55, which was just a naturally aspirated 5.5 liter version of this engine that we currently have, but they did do the S600, which was a V12, of course, but that was before it was turbocharged. They fixed a lot of the things that people didn't like with the 2003 facelift. They had better engine choices, they kind of improved the build quality a bit, they added more features. And the version of the W220 that probably should have come out from the start came out in 2003. Now, the total production of this car was 2000 to 2006. Made about 500,000 of these, which is a lot, but not as many as other generations like the W126, which you guys know that I actually own. They made like 1 million of those or so, 2 million, something crazy. But this didn't exist for as long as most S-classes do. I think because they were kind of pressured to get rid of it and replace it, which they did in 2007 with the W221, which was a much better received S-class. People liked that quite a bit better. So I feel bad for the W220 because it's sandwiched in between two very well-renowned generations of S-Class. A lot of people say the W140 was the best S-Class ever made, and this had to follow that up, and it just didn't do a very good job. But I think now, in 2025, this sort of represents a simple level of luxury that a lot of enthusiasts, myself included, kind of yearn for. I mean, this doesn't have anything in here that I don't need. I mean, it's got this tiny, silly little screen. It's got a number pad over here to dial phone numbers and things. Obviously, you wouldn't use that anymore, but it's just simple. I mean, everything seems to work pretty well. It all seems pretty straightforward. And I love these older Mercedes cruise control systems. They're so easy. You just push down on it, and then voila, you're in cruise control. Push up on it, that sets it higher. You can push down, that sets it to a lower speed, or you can push forward on it and that cancels it all together. And then you pull forward and that resumes it to where you had it, so that would resume it to the 77 that I had it at. It's nice because it's just right there. I wish everything in cars was just right there. That's what I like. Got buttons on the steering wheel to accept and decline phone calls. What do these do? Ooh, it's more screens here. This is telling me in the last 17 miles, I've done 6.5 mpg. I did do a lot of idling trying to defrost this. Visibility in this W220 is lovely. I can see everything I need out the back, out the sides. The only thing I will say is the side view mirrors are a bit small, but I suspect they're trying to make them quite aerodynamic at the time to make this a bit more efficient, which, I mean, 24 mpg is really not all that bad for this being 23 years old and having a V8. I think this gauge cluster is actually quite pretty. It's got a good design overall. Seating position is good, elbow comfiness is nice. I mean, this seat is just lovely. I'm really gonna need you guys to comment that I don't need this car. I think if I were to get one, I probably should get like an S65, which I know is about probably 5 times the price of this. And it would probably brake more, but come on, 650 horsepower, how can you argue with that? I'm gonna put my heated seat on, I'm getting a bit chilly. I guess if there's one thing, like my main impression is just that this car is so relaxing. This is like the relaxed driving experience that I hope to get from every S-Class. And I don't know that you necessarily get that as much anymore with all of the stupid technology that they have. Plenty of torque to pass. I think we just downshifted to 4th there. Using those 295 pound-feet. We're not even going to try making noise under the tunnels up here because that would just be uncivilized and silly. No, but actually this car doesn't sound like anything. It's just a muffled little V8, and that's okay. The heated seat is working. An absolute treat right now, actually. I love the steering on this, actually. I've got a pretty good idea of what's going on with the front end, and it's pretty quick, it's light. Like the actual steering ratio, I'm not having to do a million hand over hands. A couple little rattles in here, but mostly just leather rustling like we talked about earlier. Getting into a bit more of a city setting now. I'm curious what the sizing of this car is going to feel like. The S-Class hadn't really gotten wide yet at this point, and I feel like I read somewhere that this was actually lighter and smaller than the W140. This car's idling right now. You could tell somebody this is electric and they'd probably believe you. There's not a vibration, not a shake, not a noise. You can barely even hear the climate control, and it's on setting 2. As we get into town, why don't we give you guys a sound system test here on this 10-speaker Bose sound system. Oh, that's the wrong panel. There we go. How about that? We can adjust our sound settings in here. I've got bass and treble all the way up because it's pretty flat without them. And this is how it was when I got in, so we'll leave it like that. But it sounds pretty good, honestly. I'll let you guys listen for yourselves. turbulence coming. Hazard switch front and center, baby. I'm going to put this back to dead center. Not bad. Okay, I would like a volume knob. That's the only thing I'll say is that this thing is annoying. But sound system's pretty good. Even when you've set it back to zero everything out, just got to turn it up a little bit louder. But for 2002, how about that? I mean, obviously, I have a lot more experience with older Lexuses from this era, my 98 GS400 and my 03 IS300, both of which have pretty good sound systems as well. I'd say they're pretty comparable to this. But it's cool to see branded audio back 23 years ago, because a lot of companies are just kind of doing their own thing. So Lexus had Nakamichi for a second, but then they got rid of that. I don't know, guys. I really like the W220. This is genuinely, it's nicer than I was expecting it to be, and I feel bad that I had low expectations for this car because it is still an S-Class at the end of the day. I mean, it still feels like an S-Class. But with all of the articles I read about this car, everyone said it was terrible. And I suppose maybe if I drove a W140 and then I drove this and then I drove a W221, maybe I wouldn't like it as much then, but I think on its own as a car, this is nice. It's really nice. I mean, shoot, for $6,900, I mean, come on. What can you find nicer for $7,000 in 2025 than a 69,000 mile cream puff Florida Golf spec S430? I mean, it's just really nice. The ride quality is just lovely, and I've said that a few times now, but even on these 18-inch wheels that have a little bit of a thinner sidewall, it just feels nice. Over some of the bigger bumps, you know, some of the interior rattles are a bit more pronounced in here, but the car doesn't feel too big. That's another thing I really like about it, is this does feel like just about the perfect size for a big body luxury sedan. On a narrow road like this is the easiest way to tell if your car is too big. You drive down this road, especially next to a big semi, which I don't think we're going to be able to go next to him because we're stopping. Yep, now there's a red light. Ah, oh, that's probably for the back, maybe. Don't know where that goes. So, here's what I learned about the W220. Here's what we found out today: is that if you take care of it, it will hold up very well. And also the fact that this 23-year-old car, maintenance or not, feels as modern as it does as far as like driving inputs and everything is pretty impressive. I mean, this car has stood the test of time. I know other cars are more fortunate than others, and you do genuinely see a lot of these in Michigan with just rusted out doors sitting on the ground, like just absolute basket cases that just end up going to the junkyard. But this car, I really hope the person that buys this, I really hope they care for it. And it'd be really cool if it was one of you that bought it. So I really hope this car is still around when I post the video. It's probably going to be about a week from now, so who knows? Someone may have already scooped it up, but we will see. But, well, okay, this confirms my theory that this car is overhated. Overhated, undervalued. I mean, I don't want to inflate the prices of these because I would like to be able to buy one someday. Could just buy this one. But I'll be nice to myself and my bank account, and I won't. Nice auto down window. Let's get this pulled in here. Watch the monoblocks.
Please select an event from the screen menu. Welcome.
Perfect height to
Please proceed into the lot.
grab a ticket and knock ice into the interior. Auto up window, yes. Let's pull this ND filter off so you guys can see. Oh, wait, there is a reading light on. Where is that? Oh, it must be on the mirror. Oh, I see. Okay. I was wondering what that... I was spamming that button earlier. I was like, nothing's happening. Yeah, that's why. Auto headlights. Do those come on in here? think they do. Oh, there's the Xenons reflecting on the elevator. Check that out. We should jump out real quick and see what those look like. Once we get up here, we will. I suspect the roof will be closed anyway, because they always close it when it snows. Love the steering wheel, too. It feels perfect. Perfect thickness, perfect what do you call it? Circumference? No. Diameter. Yeah, perfect perfect diameter of the steering wheel. Feels good in the hands. I mean, I'm just soaking it all in. This car, it's very much speaking to me. All right, let's just jump out here real quick. I want to show you guys the lights, and then we'll find somewhere to wrap this one up. Yes. Oh, such a stately thing. Now, from some dimensions, this does just look like a big extended Mercedes C-Class, but don't forget, this was the last S-Class that Bruno Sacco had his hands on. After this, he retired. And I know this isn't one of his most iconic designs, but come on, Bruno Sacco. Alrighty guys, well, I suppose we will go ahead and wrap this one up. I'm just trying to find a place to put the car right now so we can wrap it up. But thank you all so much for watching. If there's anything I left out, please let me know. But man, thanks again to Kia of Canton for tossing me the keys to this S430 today. This has been quite a bit of fun, and I want one now. We all knew that would be the outcome, but anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Alrighty guys, well, we're just going to end this on a random street. I think actually we ended it, the Audi RS6 video over here, so we'll do the same thing for the W220. Look, somebody else's car was just here, so we'll just put ours here as well. Cool. All right. We're going to leave it running because I'm going to get right back in. But let's give you one last look. Give this car a chance. Don't listen to all of these influencers that say it's bad. Go drive one that's been well looked after, and I think you will enjoy it. So that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.